What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Diehard MMA podcast. I'm your host, as always, Clint. This is odds.com, and it is fight week. It's finally fight week. We're back. I'm stoked. I'm pumped. We have been waiting so damn long to get our MMA back. I've been losing money left and right betting on football because I've got nothing else to do. How is everybody else doing out there? Alan Epstein, DFS by the numbers, already jumping in here. Kevin Wallace, Rex Lee, Grateful Dude, Nigel Lee. We've got Rasul 1993, G Fonz, Robert Lopez. What's everybody up to this evening? How you doing? All right, we are back. We are coming hard for the UFC in 2021. There's no recap to be had. Last week, we broke down UFC Fight Island 7. This week, we're going to go ahead and break down UFC Fight Island 8. We are getting ahead of ourselves here because the UFC schedule is as follows. This Saturday, we've got UFC Fight Island 7 coming up. That is on Saturday the 16th. Make sure you're aware we're back in Fight Island. The fights will be early. They're going to be earlier. They're going to start in the morning while we're not doing pay-per-views. The card we're breaking down today is going to be held on Wednesday, January 20th, and it's first thing in the freaking morning. So your boy took the day off work. I'm going to break. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to watch these fights. You'll get your normal reaction videos on the bets cashing and not cashing. Hopefully more cashing than not. But Fireball and popcorn for Wednesday the 20th is more going to be like breakfast burrito and orange juice because it's going to be first thing in the morning. And then next week, Monday, the 18th, we will be taking care of UFC, the big pay-per-view coming up here. Conor versus Diamond Dustin Poirier, UFC 257. That's what we'll be breaking down next week. And then we'll be back on our normal rotating schedule. This whole 3 fights in 10 days thing has been... yeah, it's been a little bit nuts. So spacing out the show like this is a little bit easier for your boy to handle. So that's what is going on. That's what the schedule looks like. And yet, Nigel, you know what? Mimosas, maybe not a bad idea. We'll rock some of those next week. How's everybody doing? What is up, Benjamin, buddy? We are all so back. You're right. I do suck. And I got to tell you, I've always told you all I am not a professional gambler, but MMA is by far my best sport. I do my best in the other ones, and I'm a degenerate, so I'm gonna bet it, but I am not good at it, and I never suggest you tail me in anything but MMA, and even then, pick your spots, be careful. Yeah, Gianni came in, and you know what? We got Indianapolis. That was great. Unfortunately, nobody saw the meltdown coming that was the Steelers the other night. That was tough. Greg, buddy, thank you very much. Everybody do me a favor and smash that like button. Get this show out. Share around on social media. I would appreciate it. All right. Charles LaRoche, what's up, my friend? G Fonz. We've got Daniel Vallejo. Sorry about that. My tongue is not rolling. It's all good, Benjamin. I'm just messing. You know me. Your boy's got thick skin. I'm good to go. We can riv a little bit. I know when I suck. I own up to it. All right. So first off, we got to get a little change of scenery here, don't we? We're back on the island, baby. We got to switch up the background. We got to get back going. What's up, Gaming Wolf 87? Thank you for joining the show. No special guest this evening, just your boy. Now, I know we've got the big college football playoff game tonight, so we're probably going to do our best to roll through this episode a little quicker than normal, just so we can, not overlap and get everybody going. Connor, what's up, my friend? How you doing? Welcome to the show. All right. And so what I'm going to do for starters, we're going to dive right on into this thing, and then I'll recap everything at the end as far as bets, picks, plays, all that good stuff goes. So getting us started here on UFC Fight Island 8. Kicking this thing off with an absolute banger. We have got Jacob Kilburn taking on Austin Lingo. Now, I got to take just a second here. My notes are all out of order because on Fight Island, fights dropping in and out, left and right. They never put anything in the right order here, so I don't have my notes right where they should be, but I'm going to go ahead and get to where I need to be. All right. So kicking the night off with Jacob Kilburn and Austin Lingo. This is, you know what? I feel like we broke this fight down last week, didn't we? I thought this one was happening on the Saturday, the 16th card. See what I'm talking about? Like, they're switching everything around on me right here live on camera. Yeah, they're, you know what? That's my fault. I got the wrong card up here. What are you doing, Clint? Is this your first podcast, bro? What are you doing? We're talking Chiesa versus Magny. Open Source 76. What's up? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. All right. Start over. Anybody editing this on the back end, do me a favor and just clip that first part out so I don't look quite as dumb. For you live people, you've been treated to the show here. Yeah, exactly. Amateur hour. I was not prepared, apparently. I'm telling you. All right. Here we go. Blackouts for our very first fight of the night. You all know what that means. Victoria Leonardo taking on Manon Fiorot? I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce that. Fiorot, I believe. Anyway, Victoria goes by Fury. I like this chick. She wears the rash guard that's all DBZ style with the Goku gi and stuff like that. Big fan. I love my nerdy women MMA fighters. She is aggressive. She storms forward. She uses underhooks really, really well. She's very physically strong. Works the clinch knees inside. Great sprawl. She's got really strong hips. She is a BJJ purple belt and a good get-up game. The only problem with Victoria is she is extremely hittable. She walks forward and wings wild shots, and she doesn't do a damn thing for her chin. Someone is absolutely going to make her pay for that sooner rather than later. Manon on the flip side of this thing, 5-1, UFC debutante here. She has a nice sideways karate fighting stance, very fast, accurate hands. She likes to throw side kicks. She likes to chop up that lead leg. She flurries when she gets her opponent pinned up against the fence. And this chick's got some killer instinct on her. She is mean. She likes to bully people up against the cage, and she mixes in takedowns. Nice timing on her level changes. And when she gets you on bottom, she is so heavy on top. She knows how to use that top game, wear you down. And you know what? She looks like she's very inexperienced. 5-1 coming in here. She has seven amateur and exhibition MMA fights. So she is not nearly as outgunned in the experience edge as you might think. In fact, she might be the one with the experience edge here. So with this line, I thought I was onto something. I absolutely thought I was onto something. Unfortunately, I was a little behind on my research. I was late to the party, and because of that, I missed out. They opened this lineup with Manon as a plus 115 underdog. I would have smashed Manon as a plus 115 underdog. Victoria Leonardo is just not clean and crisp enough. I think Manon is going to piece her apart on the feet. I think the cleaner striking, the range, the distance, the control, that's what Manon does really, really well. And I think because of the wild blitz attacks where she has no regard for her personal safety of Victoria, I think Manon's going to take advantage of that. And this chick hits hard. She's a finisher. She is more than capable of putting her opponent away. And just earlier this year in February, we saw Victoria get overpowered by another woman. We saw her get out-grappled, out-controlled, and what that did is it completely drained her gas tank. As soon as she got tired, she was not the same fighter. She got head-kicked and she got flatline KO'd. I would not be surprised whatsoever if Manon was able to do the same thing here. I think she's going to give Victoria problems when it comes to the grappling, the physical strength, and then if this thing gets to the floor, I think Manon's probably going to be able to secure top position and just wear her out. I think Manon is the rightful favorite. And if you got on this thing early, if you got that plus 115, if you got even better than, even a little worse than that, you know, minus 120, minus 125, something like that, I think she's absolutely the right size. But those of you who watch the show regularly, we talked to Gianni the Greek last week. We learned some lessons. We got some notes in our little notebooks, things that we can do better. And what we learned is it's all about that price tag. I don't want to lay minus 165 on Manon. I mean, this is women's MMA first and foremost. We know how volatile it can be. We know anything can happen. And then on top of that, Victoria at least has fought on the Contender Series. She's fought in the UFC. Even though Manon looks like she's the better fighter, she looks like she's got the tools to do it. Laying minus 165 on a debuting fighter, not for me. This one's going to end up being fireball and pass, but I really think Manon does have what it takes to win this fight. So if you're one of those people that throws value out the window and you just want a winner, I'd be picking Manon. That's the way I'd be looking here. That's the way I'd be looking. All right, we got 63 live viewers hanging out with me this evening. Those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those numbers up. I can't expect too much. It's national championship college football weekend. Can't expect a ton here. So I totally understand. But as we get the UFC rolling again, we got to get these live show numbers back up where they were, crushing those 300 live viewing type of numbers. That's where we need to be. Next up, we've got Matt Danger Schnell taking on Tyson Nam. And we actually broke this fight down like 3 months ago at this point. This is one of those ones that got pulled off the board and rescheduled. They've rescheduled it, I think, twice now, 2 or 3 times. So we've talked about this fight a lot, and it just has never quite come to fruition. Matt Danger Schnell is a fighter that I am very fond of. I like this kid. He's aggressive. He's good everywhere. He's got solid grappling, nasty submission game, very offensive striking. The only issue is he's got some durability problems. The guy can't seem to take a clean shot, and the way that he fights just always leaves him open for said clean shot. Tyson Nam, this guy is a monster. He's a physical beast in this division. He's got an excellent takedown defense rating. I believe it's 90%. So he just doesn't hit the floor. And even though he's a low volume meat and potatoes type of striker, you have to be Sergio Perez to beat this guy on the feet. You've got to be able to stay outside, stick and move. You got to be able to hit him and get away from him before he can get his hands on you. That's all you can do with Tyson Nam because you're not going to take him to the ground. Maybe you've got a grappling advantage once you get him on the floor, but nobody can actually get him on the floor. And then on the feet, you can't stay within range of those bombs because this guy's power at this division is just next level. So what I think we have here is a perfect recipe for an under. The totals haven't come out here in this for this event for me personally. So I know some of you might be able to jump on this one, and I would prefer you do it sooner rather than later. But we're sitting at -120, -125 for the under 2.5. And I love that spot. This is the spot that I was planning on hitting the first time they've scheduled it, and I've circled it. Every time they set this as a rematch, I plan on hitting it again. I just don't see how this fight doesn't go under because my boy Danger Schnell only fights one way, and that's live and die by the sword. He's going to push the pace. He's going to close the distance. He's going to try and crowd Nam, and then he's going to try and get him to the floor. If Schnell can get Tyson Nam to the floor, he's going to be able to submit him, I think. He is just so slick on the floor. He's so slick transitioning, finds the back, good on top. Like, Danger Schnell is so good on the mat. I fully expect him to be able to put Nam away. Now, if it stays on the feet, Roberto Lopez here saying Nam is not a finisher. That's where the chin issues of my boy Danger Schnell comes into play, Roberto. Both these guys can finish on the feet. Nam actually has a pretty solid finishing ability. He's got some bombs in his hands. And because of the durability concerns with Danger Schnell, because he's got those chin issues, it's only going to take one good bomb to put him away. So I don't really feel comfortable. This is a pick'em price tag, +110 on Schnell, -130 on Nam. I would lean to Schnell personally, just because I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. But I also think that Nam is more than capable of uncorking that bomb. I know Tyson Nam hasn't gotten many knockouts so far in the UFC, but he's coming off of 2 back-to-back. He knocked out Zarrukh, Adashev, and Jerome Rivera. Now, both those were, cupcake layups, that kind of thing. But the proof is in the pudding. This guy has got 12 knockouts of his 20 wins. He's got 12 knockouts. And Matt Schnell, on the flip side of this thing, he's 14-5. He has 8 submissions and 2 knockouts himself. He's won 3 decisions. So he's not the guy that's going to stick and move, dance around, grind on someone like Tyson Nam. I think one of these guys is going to sleep. And I think that -120 price tag for the under 2.5, I think that's the way to look. Again, if you make me pick a side, I'm going to pick Danger Schnell as the younger, more well-rounded fighter to get the win as a slight underdog. But again, I wouldn't bet that because the entire time you'd be biting your nails, terrified of that bomb coming from Tyson Nam at any point in time. At any point in time. Yeah, and Greg, he's 37. He's getting up there. He's getting older. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, when they get to 38, 39, 40, you know my number, 40. We don't bet on 40-year-old fighters unless we've got a damn good reason. And that durability starts to go. That ability to stuff the takedown is going to start to go. The fight IQ is going to start to go. Like, he's going to start slipping. So, yeah, just another reason why Matt should be able to potentially catch him. Potentially. All right, next fight up, we have got Mike Davis taking on Mason Jones. This fight has me all kinds of twisted. I'm so frustrated with this fight. It's going to be an early contender for fight of the night. Let me tell you that. If there was ever a fireball and popcorn fight, it's gonna be this one. Mike Davis, 8-2, is a fighter that I have decided that I want to bet on. I like everything about this guy. And you know what? He made his UFC debut against Gilbert freaking Burns. Can you imagine? You're signing up to the UFC. You're going to go ahead and get your spot. You get to finally step up to the big show what you can do, and you get Gilbert freaking Burns. That's a death sentence, man. Mike Davis did really, really good in the first round of that fight, and then Gilbert decided time was up in the second round, and he came out and choked him out. You can't really fault him too much for that one. Bounces back really well over Thomas Gifford. However, we're not really sure Thomas Gifford is UFC caliber, so still some questions around Mike Davis. He's got really heavy hands. He doubles up on the jab, which is something I like to see. He's able to switch stances and fight from the other side. That's something I like to look for. Big power. Big body kicks, nasty uppercut. Again, like I said, everything I see from Mike Davis I like. I want to bet on this guy. Mason Jones is undefeated, 10-0, and he is a 2-division Cage Warriors champion. Now, we know all about Cage Warriors, right? Like, if there is a smaller show that pumps out nothing but talent, it's Cage Warriors. I mean, Conor McGregor came from Cage Warriors. There's a lot of really well-known names, and of course I'm blanking off the top of my head right now besides Conor, who else came from Cage Warriors, but there's a lot of them. Cage Warriors is a good show, and they put out good talent. Jones being able to take not one but two belts in Cage Warriors and be undefeated at this stage, that's impressive. That's extremely impressive. He has heavy hands himself. He's got a really stiff jab. He's knocked people down and rocked them with just his jab. He likes to attack the legs, and he really reminds me of Justin Gaethje the way he does that. He attacks that low calf. He sticks, he moves. He's never in the same spot, and then he just hammers that leg when you're not expecting it. When this guy gets on top of you, his ground and pound is nasty. You do not want to be underneath Mason Jones. This fight is going to be a stand-up war, and I was fully expecting to use Mike Davis as a parlay piece. He was sitting around minus 200, and then I watched the tape, and this is where me and Gianni have a little bit of a disagreement on this one. I need to watch the tape. I need these fighters to pass the eye test for me before I go ahead and pull that trigger, and this is one that saved me because Mason Jones is so much better than I gave him credit for based on what I just, know without doing my homework. Mason Jones is a live dog here. He opened up plus 190, and if you got that, I don't hate it. 2-1 on this kid. It's not bad. I'm not planning on betting against Mike Davis. I like Mike Davis. I hope he excels here. I hope he has a good showing and he wins here. But how can you not be excited about an undefeated 10-0 champ prospect coming into the UFC as well? Like I said, this is an early contender for fight of the night. We've got a total set at 2.5 rounds. And I would love to look at the under here because it's plus 140. You're getting a nice juicy number on the under here. And, it's my only issue here really is the durability of Mike Davis. This guy just doesn't stop. Like, both these guys undefeated, obviously, so neither of them have losses by decision. But Mason Jones has gone to decision 3 times already, and Mike Davis, his only loss is by decision. And I've seen him just get hit with the kitchen sink and keep coming. Like I said, that fight with Gilbert Burns, Gil had to get this thing to the floor. He had to get a choke in. That's how he was able to finally end up getting this fight taken care of. So unless Jones is able to take Mike Davis down, which I don't know that he is, I don't expect him to be able to get that finish. And I don't want to step in front of him either. He's been able to knock 4 people out straight. So yeah, like I said, I'm sorry. I'm rambling a little bit on this one. I wanted to bet Mike Davis. I'm not going to bet Mike Davis. I will pick Mike Davis, but no bet here. Maybe the under 2.5 is the look. Very dangerous fight. Going to be a really, really fun one. And I got to go ahead and give some credit here. Let me scroll back up here in the chat because this mimosas and waffles, that's what we're rolling with on Wednesday. It's going to be mimosas and waffles anytime we pass on a fight. G Fonz, you're the man. I love it. I am all about the mimosa and waffles. All right, rolling through here. Yeah, Brian, my bad, dude. My bad. So I tweeted out that this fight was at 7:30. I was working. I was in the middle of something else. I hit the 7 instead of the 6. So my fault. I apologize. The show is going to be 6:30 Eastern time until daylight savings time makes me jump an hour. That's going to be where it's at. It'll be 7:30 p.m. Eastern time after we do that rollback for daylight savings. But that's basically it. So it's always going to be 6:30 until I specify otherwise. I know I technically specified otherwise in that tweet. So I'm sorry. Don't lynch me. I promise. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, Gaming Wolf. Mike Davis has that early knockout vibe. Both these guys do. I'll be honest. They're just going to be slugging it out in the center of the cage. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. All right. Looking through here. Lots of people talking about Gianni. He was such a good guest. I can't wait to get him back. Danny Sayo, what's up, buddy? Fight week. I'm pumped. All right. All right. I see you. We'll see what we can do about those mimosas and waffles. All right, everybody. We are moving right along. A name you may recognize, Francisco Figueiredo taking on Jerome Rivera. That's right. This is the brother of your champion, Davison Figueiredo. The God of War has a sibling, and he's getting his shot here in the UFC. Francisco is 11-3. He is 31 years old, and he is being welcomed by 10-3 Jerome Rivera. This is going to be another fun fight, but one that I've got a lot of questions about. So if you've been hanging out for the show, if you've been, doing not a whole lot rocking with the Diehard MMA podcast and you're relatively new, just understand this is a betting show. I'm going to give you my picks, but we're not always going to be super confident on every single pick because we're looking for bets. We're looking for opportunities to put our money down and get a win and put some cash in our pocket. So if you're wondering why I'm wishy-washy and I'm not super confident on any of the fights so far, it's because, to be truthful, I'm not super confident on any of the fights so far. Hello, we've got royalty in the house, folks. Will Martin hanging out. Thank you for watching the stream, my man. Mason absolutely does have some BJJ, and I didn't realize he was a black belt, so that's a good note for me there. I mean, I'm not so sure we can compare him to Gilbert Burns, but I know he's dangerous, and that's where, again, the kid's live, absolutely live. I would not suggest betting on Mike Davis, and if you're going to bet Mike Davis, don't parlay him. Please don't parlay him. Man, it's cool to have the godfather of MMA YouTube, Will Martin, in the house watching my show. That's fun. All right. So Francisco, let's get back to this kid. I'll be honest, I had a really hard time finding Francisco Figueiredo fight tape. This was a tough thing for me. There's not a lot out there. There's only a couple of fights that you can see. I mean, in my opinion, he is not the level of his brother. Obviously, Figueiredo is miles above this kid. We always talk about the siblings. There's an A side and a B side, right? You've got the champion Davison, and then you've got the brother Francisco. It's rare that you get both A and B that are able to compete and stay and function at the UFC level. This may be an Antonino Shevchenko type of situation where they're softballing him in, they're trying to get him up to stuff, but he hasn't fought much at all. He fought twice in 2017, and then he fought just once in 18, just once in 19, did not fight in the year of 2020 whatsoever. And he's fought nothing but cans. And that's something that kind of is a red flag to me. Whenever you take this big jump up and you fought nothing but bums before you got to the UFC, it's kind of a bigger jump up. I know he's training with his brother, so you'd expect some of that to rub off. But, yeah, I don't know. Jerome Rivera on the flip side, we've seen this kid once or twice here. Tall and long. He does have that tall man defense, though. He rolls back. He keeps his chin up. He's got nasty leg kicks, though. I like the leg kicks and the work that Rivera does, mixing that part of his game in. He's got big clinch knees, good footwork. But honestly, this does seem like a UFC setup spot. It seems like a spot where the UFC wants the brother of Figueiredo to step in here and clip this kid Rivera on the chin. You know, if you're going to walk backwards and lean your head back and provide that opportunity for a power striker, that's just what they want. They want a highlight reel knockout and go, look, we got another one, folks. We got another Figueiredo on the roster. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Francisco Figueiredo here and say he goes ahead and wins this fight by knockout. But Jerome is 25 years old. He's improving. He's had some struggles, but I like what I have seen from his skill set, so I wouldn't count him out in this spot either. The beginning of this card, actually this whole Wednesday card, I think it's going to be chalky, but it's going to be sketchy as hell at the same time. I feel like the favorites win, but I also feel like there's a lot of potential potholes here. Lot of spots. Yeah, he's probably 50 years old, lying about that age. We have no way of verifying. Yeah, you're right. And Rivera's an easy fade. He's been knocked out twice already. We're not sure he's UFC level. Yeah, again, I like to bet on younger, improving fighters, but at the same time, durability issues are a big red flag. That's one of the things that we look for to go against rather than going on. Yeah, Figueiredo is questionable. Yeah, you know what? Got to be honest, though, Jason. I kind of gave it back on the Bears game. I crushed that first game. Saturday was a good day for me doing my degenerate NFL action, but I went way too hard on the Bears game, and I thought there were going to be points in that one, even though it was a defensive battle, and I was wrong. So I gave a lot of that money right back. All right, Rivera by submission, a bold prediction we've got here. Yep, going on Big Fig. I like that nickname, Nigel, Big Fig. All right. Jordy boy, I am glad you asked. So if you're just tuning in, we've got 100 live viewers going on right now. I broke down UFC Fight Island 7 last week. So this show, first and foremost, you got to know, is sponsored by odds.com. Go into odds.com. There's a playlist for the Diehard MMA podcast there. That one is free last week. You can also find it over on odds.com rather than the Odds HQ webpage. Just go to odds.com, click the UFC banner. You'll find all my breakdowns and stuff like that there. This week, we're doing the Wednesday card so that next week we can do UFC 257 and be on the every Monday schedule instead of trying to cram 2 shows into one or do an extra show in the middle of the week. We're trying to get further out ahead and make sure everybody's got time to digest all the information and get their action down sooner than later. So that's why it may be a little confusing. We're doing the Wednesday card instead of this Saturday's card. We did it last week. All right. Greco, yes. For anybody else wondering, I will recap Saturday's card, especially with my betting action. At the end, after we get through with this card, I will recap all the active bets that I have for 2021 right now and give you a brief description of what I like for what I'm betting on for Saturday. Don't worry. We will get there. You got it. And just Drew, what's up? Cheers. That's a lot of drinks, buddy. Hope you're pounding them. All right. Moving right along, we've got Dalcha Lungiambula taking on Markus Mulo. I can't remember what his fight name is. Dang it. The Joker, Perez. Dalcha Lungiambula is a guy that I am low-key a fan of. Maybe not so low-key because I've talked about betting him several times, but this is going to be his third opponent change in just a couple of weeks, and that's terrifying to me. So Dalcha Lungiambula, this dude fought at 205. He was way undersized, finally got his shit together. He's moving down to 185. I think that's where he belongs. He ended up having his opponent pull out. We didn't get to see him perform. I was planning on betting him there as a big, fat underdog. In fact, I had pulled the trigger on him not once, but twice, and then that fight fell apart both times due to COVID. But he looked phenomenal on the scales. That was something that I heard everybody talking about. Everybody being like, Dalcha, he's older, he's dropping a weight class, he's got so much muscle on him, where's he going to find the weight to lose? And you know what? Then he got on the scales, and he looked shredded. He looked fantastic. I think Dalcha belongs at 185, and I think the weight cut that he made, he looked even better than I would have expected. However, we didn't get to see him perform, and that's the big question. We know he's a judo black belt. We know he's explosive. We know he hits hard. We know he's got a good wrestling top game if he can get you down on bottom, and he's got some nasty ground and pound. So I understand every reason for liking Dalcha Lungiambula here, even though he's going to be the smaller man in the cage. He's one of those freak fighters that's short, stocky, and he's got the long arms. He's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage here. Markus Perez on the flip side of this thing, 12-4, a fighter that I'm really a fan of. First off, he's fun to watch. He's got a fun, entertaining style, and his Joker cosplay, second to none. We always got to talk about that. He comes out in full face makeup, and I fully enjoy watching this guy. Very entertaining, and he's always got a good attitude. And you all know for me, positive vibes only. We're only looking for fun positivity, and that's, Markus Perez is that kind of a guy. So I've got a soft spot for him, even though he's had a rough run of it. He is 1-3 in his last 4, and he is 2-5 in his overall UFC run. So the dude's having a bit of a tough time. He seems to be sub or bust here in the UFC's octagon. Both of his wins have been by submission, and he's been ground out by everybody else. And then just recently, he got finished by Dricus du Plessis. Now, that is a fight that I want to talk about because Markus Perez was doing everything well in that fight. And it wasn't until Driscus found the button. He binked him right behind the ear, and that put Markus Perez down. Markus Perez actually is pretty well known for his durability. That was the first knockout loss of his career. And I think he just got a little overexcited. I think he gave too much opportunity for his opponent. He was throwing too many spinning things. He was kind of feeling himself. He was taking over the fight. Like I said, he was winning it up until the point that he got clipped. So I think he just got a little overconfident, a little cocky, and he was coming off the Wellington Turman decision loss that he wanted to prove a point. He wanted to come out and shake that off and get that one put behind him, and he kind of overcompensated for that, left himself open, got binked in the worst spot possible. He got dropped, he got right back up. This wasn't a you're dead type of knockout. This isn't one where his eyes were rolled back. He got the button turned off because that's a bad spot to get hit. So I'm not entirely sold on the fact that he's got any durability issues or anything like that. The only question for me is, it was just in October. We always talk about, we like to see fighters take off 6 to 9 months after a bad knockout. He's turning around within 3. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. I think he's fighting to save his job here. And what's crazy is they opened this fight up, Dalcha Lungiambula, minus 350, folks. He opened at minus 350. Can you believe it? Rightfully so. Anybody who got in on that opener on Markus Perez, you have a damn good ticket in your pocket because this fight should be closer to a pick'em. And if you're rocking plus 255 on Markus Perez, you, my friend, I envy. I would love to have Markus Perez in my pocket at plus 250 on this particular fight. Markus Perez likes to walk his opponents down. He's got big kicks. He mixes them up well, legs, body, keeps his hands low, fires from the hip. He does seem to struggle a little bit with counter strikers, but he's got a really strong body lock, offensive BJJ, and he's got a nasty front choke game. Darce, guillotines, he jumps on the neck when you're not expecting it. He does seem, like I said, to be a little bit sub or bust, but dude's got an 80% takedown defense. 80%. So as much as I have been doing nothing but singing the praises of Dalcha Lungiambula, I got to pump the brakes here a little bit. I feel like Markus Perez is extremely live in this spot simply because of the way these guys match up. I was planning, and this is something I want to talk about. The numbers here are very, very important. Everybody's like, Clint, but you were going to bet Dalcha Lungiambula against a much, much better fighter. Yes, I was, but at 3-1. I was going to take Dalcha Lungiambula as a big underdog and take a shot for him to come through. He's fighting a much more reasonable caliber of competition here, a guy that he should relatively be a coin flip with, I believe. Markus Perez averages far more output than Dalcha Lungiambula does by almost a full significant strike. So he's going to be the more active fighter in there. He does get a little sloppy. He does leave some openings, and we know Dalcha's got that power. So there's an opportunity here for Dalcha to close that distance and get the knockout. However, most of Dalcha's knockouts have come from ground and pound. And even though Dalcha is a judo black belt, Perez is no slouch in the judo game. He's a high-level Brazilian jiu-jitsu player, and he's got 80% takedown defense. I am not convinced that Dalcha will be able to get this fight to the floor. And if he can't get this fight to the floor, we are going back to Fight Island, folks. We got to remember we're getting a whole new roster of judges. They're changing it around again. The first time we went to Fight Island, I was dialed in on exactly what the judges wanted. I knew exactly what style a fighter was going to do well, and that was volume. Anybody who was able to outpace their opponent was usually the one that got their hand raised in the end. Even if they took some big shots, the judges just seemed to value the power less. And until I get told otherwise by watching these Fight Island events, I'm going to assume that's probably still the same. So I've got a sneaky feeling that Markus Perez is going to weasel his way out a split decision victory here. I think Dalcha Lungiambula is going to look good in the first round. I think if he doesn't get Perez out of there early, I think Perez is going to take over and win rounds 2 and 3. This could end up being a split decision type of fight, and I want nothing to do with it. And I wouldn't even be shocked if Perez managed to lock up one of those front chokes if this thing got late and Dalcha was tired, because remember, Dalcha is a little bit older. He's not ancient by any means, but he's 35 years old, and he did make that weight cut just a couple of weeks ago. I think to prove a point, maybe to get paid his show money. Who knows exactly why he decided to go through with that full weight cut down to 185. But now Let me see. I want to check exactly when that was. Yeah, it was Carl Roberson. So I believe that was on December 19th. So less than a month ago. Less than a month ago, he went ahead and made that weight cut. And now he's going to have to do it again. So his first time making weight, looked good, got on the scale, did it, but he's going to flip around right again and do it again. That's a scary prospect. So I kind of want to wait and see how Dalcha looks on the scales for the second time around before I make any type of move here. Like I said, I feel like maybe Markus Perez can squeeze out a decision victory here. Both guys can finish, but I'm kind of expecting this one to go the distance. So that in mind, I do want to take a look at what we got for the total. They got it at 1.5? Are you kidding? Bro, this is a 1.5? I'm betting the over. I'm betting the over. Are you kidding me? Dude, Dalcha Lungiambula couldn't get Daquan Townsend out of the cage until the third round. Markus Perez got clipped behind the ear. Besides that, he went 15 minutes with Andrew Sanchez, Eric Anders, and Wellington Turman. It took him until the second round to get the subs on Fluffy Hernandez. He did get a first-round submission over James, but, like, Dalcha's not going to flatline this guy in the first round unless he's just completely broken from that fight. In fact, Dalcha goes to the third round regularly. He's been 5 before. Twice. Holy crap. Why is that a 1-round total? Over 1.5, folks. There you go. Right there on the spot. You got a fresh, hot read from your boy. Dalcha Lungiambula, Markus Perez, over 1.5, I think, is probably the way to go. Catching up here with the chat. Yeah, I hope Drew is drunk. Having a good time. Yeah, a lot of people looking to fade the clown. Dalcha probably, maybe. I don't think Perez is terrible. He's not great, but he's not terrible. Catching up here. I am floored, Greg, that they're going to open this thing up to fans. That's crazy to me. I mean, it's awesome. I would love to fly out to Fight Island. That'd be so freaking cool. With all the precautions they're taking for COVID and stuff like that, the testing, they got to make sure the island is clean. They can't get it infected. Like, I would trust the UFC. You know what I mean? I would trust them to get me out there and back safely without catching anything. I would love to do that. That'd be awesome. Big Guy Sports Collector, what's up, buddy? Thank you for joining the show. All right. Yep, everybody, yep, there we go. Got caught up, got the over. Connor Mack, what's up, buddy? Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Roberto, it's going to be sloppy. That's exactly it. It's just going to be sloppy. And yeah, Brian, it's funny. I wasn't even caught up on the chat. Yeah, that's exactly where I was looking. Over. I think this one's going to be sloppy. I think it's going to be close. I think they're both going to struggle to put the other one away. They're both relatively durable. Yeah. I like the over and slightly into Perez. All right, moving on. We've got Magny taking on Zarrukh Adashev. This is going to be a fun one. Everybody do me a favor real quick. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button. It makes a world of difference for content creators, making sure this show is free, coming to you every single week, breaking down every single fight card, having some fun, staying positive, and looking to put money in your pockets. And subscribe here at Odds HQ if you haven't already on YouTube. Magny 13-4, taking on Zarrukh Adashev, who is only 3-2. This is such a weird fight. So Zarrukh Adashev is a guy that realistically, from a striking perspective, he probably is UFC level. But man, he is coming in early. He's a glory kickboxer. He's got some good experience. He's a very talented striker. But he took a short notice opportunity. He was one of Tyson Nam's victims. Completely out of shape, up a weight class, short notice, got flatlined in 30 seconds by Tyson Nam. So for starters, everyone thinks this kid's a bum because of that. I mean, the perception of Tyson Nam is that he's not that good. The perception of Zarrukh Adashev is that he got knocked out in 30 seconds by Tyson Nam. We got to shelve that a little bit. He is much better than he showed. He's got a nice check left hook, big power. He's got a nice spinning heel kick. He fights in the mid-range. He doesn't like get in close and get up in your face. He doesn't stay long outside. He likes to control that middle space. But that is something that I feel like is potentially going to be a problem in this fight because Mudaerji is going to have a massive, massive height and reach advantage on this kid. So Zarrukh is short and stocky. He's 5'7", and you've got 5'8" on Mudaerji. Doesn't seem like it's that big of a difference, but Su has a 7-inch reach advantage. 7. That's half a foot, bro. That's a Subway sandwich difference in fight reach. If I could put a sub on the end of my fist and then poke you with it, like, you just stand no chance of getting back at me and getting to my chin. Zarrukh Adashev, I think he's got to work the body. I think he's got to get inside and really like tag up that tall, long torso of Mudaerji if he can. The only problem is I don't know that he can. And Su is a monster striker. The hole in Su's game is the grappling. He's got 4 losses, all 4 by submission. If you can't get this guy to the floor, if you can't snatch up one of those long-ass arms, he's gonna knock you out on the feet. That's all he does. 11 of his 13 wins by KO TKO. And they're giving him a glory kickboxer who is really underwhelming so far in his career on the floor as well. This is going to be a striking fight. The UFC knows what they've got in this Mudaerji kid. They are trying to highlight him here. He wears dead animals on his head in his post-fight speech. He's full of character. He's got a good market behind him. Power, accuracy, length. He's fast. He hits hard. Yeah, this one's going to be fun. This is another fight of the night contender as long as it lasts. Probably a knockout of the night contender because somebody's going to sleep. I have to pick Su here. Absolutely have to pick Su here. Again, the only problem is I really don't like the line. He's almost a 4-1 favorite. He is a 4-1 favorite in some places. And I get it. I think Su could potentially be a parlay piece. But like I said, this entire card is going to be sketchy as all hell. Zarrukh Adashev is not to be counted out. This kid is better than we have seen. He's going to have a full training camp coming into this one. He's going to have an opportunity to actually show the type of skill that he has on the feet, the striking that he actually is known for. That's what he's being given the opportunity to do here. And Su is not a guy that I'm afraid of having chin issues or durability problems, getting clipped and knocked out or anything like that. But Zarrukh is the kind of guy that may be able to surprise a couple people come Saturday. So I think the line is a little bit too wide at this point, just completely disregarding what Adashev on a full camp in shape can potentially do. But I got to pick Su. And yeah, violence play potentially. They've got the total here set at 1.5 is kind of my only problem. Zarrukh Adashev, his losses have both been in the first round. And Su just took out Malcolm Gordon in the first round, but Malcolm Gordon is awful. Malcolm Gordon's another guy that has no ability to stand. He's got no chin. He's got no durability. He's got no striking to speak of, and he quits. You know, when he fought Andre Sukumtath, who's a guy that's durable, okay, nothing to write home about, that went the full 15. That went all 3 rounds. So honestly, with this thing being set at 1.5, I think that's recency bias putting that line low. This one probably goes over. I would look more at the over 1.5 if I was going to play a total on this one. Man, I'm going to do a total madness for all of you guys later on in the week, but I'm giving out all the nuggets here right on the Monday show, I guess. So it's a good thing we're doing this early. Maybe people will forget. Rohan, hello. Thank you for joining the show, my friend. Appreciate you coming to hang out. Yeah, Nigel, really no value. No value. If you think he wins, parlay piece, maybe. Line a little too wide, probably. DC. What's going on? Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. All right, we got 124 live viewers, 124 live viewers. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me this evening. Y'all know I appreciate it and love spending time with you. We are closing out the preliminary card here with a good fight. In my opinion, maybe not a good fight, but a good one to bet on for us. First thing, I got to let you guys know all about my other sponsor. We have got GOAT Capital Sports, who have been rocking with me since the beginning. Once again, I am terrible at betting football. I showed you that over the weekend if you watched me on Twitter. NHL is coming up. It's my favorite sport besides MMA, and I will be degenerate betting NHL the entire season long, but you can't necessarily get winners from me because I'm not that good. I try, but more than likely I'm not that good. GOAT Capital Sports has you covered. They take care of all the other sports that you may not have time for. Now, again, odds.com right here. We're going to give you all the free information. I suggest you go check out Jimmy the Bags show. He breaks everything down. baseball, basketball, football. He'll give you all the information that you need and then help you make a decision on your own, kind of like I do. Jimmy's my dad, man. I learned how to podcast from watching my boy Jimmy. I love the guy. But if you are somebody who doesn't have the time, if you can't listen to all the content that we so loving and caringly produce, check out goatcapitalsports.com. They have a very, very reasonably priced membership fee. They have a reasonably priced membership fee, $9.99, I believe, and they will get you the winning picks without all the rest of the pomp and circumstance. So check out Goat Capital Sports, GOAT_capital on Twitter. And Rohan, no, I feel like I should be a Canadian honorarily, right? Like some of my favorite people in this world are Canadians. We've got my boy Lock of the Night over there. We've got Cody Safdie, Z MMA, who sometimes hangs out in the show. And of course, I am a sucker for Jillian Robertson, and I love Charles Air Jourdain. I feel like I should be honorarily Canadian, but no, I'm American. All right. Let's go. Ricky Simon taking on UFC newcomer Gaetano Pirrello. Pirrello? Not sure there. Anyway, so this is one, if you follow me on Twitter, we've got to bet, folks. We've got to bet. I've got Ricky Simon in a parlay, and I think that if you want to get on that, you need to get on it sooner than later. Ricky Simon opened up minus 285. He's already minus 330. That value is getting sucked up. It's going, and it's going fast. Ricky Simon was supposed to fight our boy Brian Boom Kelleher on this card. However, Boom had a false positive for COVID, which really sucks because they pulled the fight because he caught COVID. Turned out to be a false positive. They could have continued, but they had already rebooked Ricky with this kid, and he's just looking for an easy paycheck, man. Boom even tweeted at Ricky and was like, hey, man, are we still on? And Ricky was like, nah, man, dad's got to get paid. I was like, eh. And Ricky, Boom knows what's up. He was like, all right, I respect that. Oh, Rohan, you're right. Simone, I apologize. Simone. All right. And, it's a bummer. We're missing out on that fight. That was going to be a good one. And like I said, they're serving him up a cupcake here. So Ricky is in shape. He was ready to go against a dangerous UFC veteran fighter. Chain grappling, relies on that wrestling, very big and physically strong for the division. He's got a ridiculous 51% takedown accuracy. When Ricky wants a takedown, Ricky gets a takedown. This guy will put you on your ass anytime he feels like it. Most of the time when you've got chain grapplers, man, they have like a 25 or a 30% takedown accuracy. 51! That's ridiculous for the style of fighting that this guy has. And he's not out of place on the feet if he gets stuck in a spot where he can't take somebody down. Now, Pirrello on the other side of this card, he's a short notice fill-in, and we all know that's a fade. We do not, more often than not, we do not want to be touching a short notice fill-in because they just don't necessarily have the time to prepare. We don't know what kind of shape they're in. We've seen a lot of these Fight Island COVID fill-ins go down and go down hard. He's recklessly offensive. This guy is fun to watch, but he is reckless. He comes in with big knees, big elbows. He's got that Matt Brown, like Diego Sanchez knockout over the top elbow that he comes sprinting in with, and he will look to clinch knee every chance he gets. As soon as he gets close to you, he tries to look for that Muay Thai plum behind the back of the neck and slam you with a knee. The problem with that is that he is a sucker for getting taken down. Ricky is going to have no problem timing one of those knees, catching a kick, or even just diving in on this guy's hips. I hope he doesn't dive in on the hips because then he might eat a knee. But seriously, Ricky is going to know this. If you watch one or two of his fights, you're going to see it a mile away. Ricky's wrestling is going to save the day here. The one time in his last couple of fights that this Pirrello guy fought someone who could put him on his butt, he got TKO'd in round 2. He had no answer for the ground game. I mean, absolutely nothing. Let me look back at this record here so I can tell you exactly what happened. So the last time he fought anybody with any wrestling was Jerizo Boy. And like I said, he got put on his back, he got ground out, and he got TKO'd. Now he fought once in 2018 against this Percy Herrera kid. And Percy Herrera is an 8-5 fighter. And then he fought once in 2019 against a guy who decided that fighting just wasn't for him. A 7-6, a 500 fighter is the guy that he took out in his 2019 fight. He hasn't fought at all in 2020. And with what I saw, 1 or 2 years worth of wrestling practice is not nearly enough to stop the takedowns of Ricky. Ricky's going to style on this kid. Unless Pirrello comes in with some crazy flying knee and clips him hard and early and puts him away because Ricky's just overzealous and disrespectful. This is like 90% Ricky. If there was, we don't use the L word on the Die Hard MMA podcast, but if my Manpreet was sitting next to me, Lock of the Night would tell you that Ricky Simone is probably the lock on this card. And gold caps, how could I forget about Randa Marcos? She's not Jillian Robertson, but yeah, I do love my Randa Marcos. Yep, we got some agreements here. People liking Ricky. So I've tied Ricky into a parlay. As soon as that line dropped, I jumped on it. I knew it was going to get steamed up, and I wanted to get on it as quickly as possible. That's going to be a 2-unit play for me. I've got him tied up with somebody else, and that's going to be a 2-unit play. Actually, you know what? That fight was supposed to be on Saturday's fight, the 16th, so I'm not going to be giving you any type of spoiler by letting you know. I tied him up with Buckley. I was looking for Joaquin Buckley and putting him with somebody. I was looking to parlay him with anybody, and there's just a lot of favorites on the Saturday card this week on the 16th that I'm not a huge fan of. Like, they probably win, but I didn't really feel good about parlaying them with Buckley. I know Buckley is the guy I'm really confident in him to win on Saturday, and I don't want that to go to waste. You know what I mean? Whenever I've got somebody that I think is a perfect, air quotes, perfect parlay piece, I don't want to put them with somebody that I'm less confident in and have that parlay get ruined. So I put Buckley with Simone as soon as that line dropped, and I got minus 123 on the parlay, I think. So I'm laying 2.46 units to win 2 on that parlay. Bill, my friend, if you're asking about Ricky, he's minus 330 at this point in time, and you've got the comeback plus 250, plus 270, somewhere in that ballpark on his opponent. And Roberto, we will get to that, my friend. Eric, what's up from Vegas, my friend? Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. My neighbor's right around the corner there in the desert. Looking forward to one of these days getting my ass back there. I miss Vegas. I want to go back. All right. That'll do it for the preliminary portion of the card, folks. We're going on to the main card. Once again, this is Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast. This is odds.com, and we are breaking down UFC Fight Island 8, the Wednesday card. Wednesday. Lerone Murphy taking on Douglas Silva de Andrade. Mouthful of a name, this guy. Murphy is undefeated, 9-0-1. Douglas is 26-3. A ton of experience. Just so much experience on this guy. And this is another one of those fighters that may have lied on his birth certificate, right? He does not look very good for his age and his fighting career with all that experience. Lerone Murphy is another one of these fighters that I have labeled as a bet on. I want to bet this kid. He's got everything I'm looking for, and he's improving every single time we see him. He attacks that low calf kick. He is fast. He is athletic. He has excellent boxing. He's got nice combinations, and that's what I'd like to look for. Good combinations, never one and done. And he attacks the body. Anytime anybody gets in there and works the body, I talk about it all the time. You're all probably sick of hearing me talk about the body, but it's true. When these guys go for the body, you're just draining your opponent's gas tank, and then you cash in on that later in the fight. Rounds 2, round 3, your ribs hurt. It sucks to breathe. You're not getting as much air in those lungs. Love that approach, and that's all this kid does. When he gets taken down, that's been a hole in his game. It's something he needed to work on, but we saw some improvement. Not his last fight because it was too short, but the fight before that, he does get taken down, but he never accepts bottom position. He attacks off of his back. He's got an improved get-up game. He's always trying to get back to his feet, and he damn near won the fight with Tuhugov off of his back with elbows and shit like that because he just doesn't accept when someone takes him down. He's got such filthy ground and pound. You do not want Lerone Murphy on top of you. He's got those long, lanky arms that if he gets on top of you, it's even worse than striking with him because the way he knocked out Ricardo Ramos, holy crap. Like, Ramos thought he could play jiu-jitsu. Ramos thought that he was safe on his back because he's so long and he could keep Lerone Murphy in his guard. But Murphy just uncorked on him from a spot that Ramos really just never saw coming. It's because of those long, lanky arms. And like I said, he puts every ounce of that power he's got into his ground and pound, just as much as he does on the feet. And he's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage here in this spot against Douglas. Now, Douglas de Silva de Andrade, I put way too many days there in that name. He is mini Vitor Belfort. If you took prime TRT Vitor Belfort and you hit him with a shrink ray, just shrunk him down here to 145, that's what you get with Douglas Silva de Andrade. This guy plods forward. He walks his opponents down. He's heavy on his feet, but then he flurries in. He explodes. He looks to blitz forward and knock you out, hit you as hard as he can. But he hasn't fought at all in 2020. That's a concern for me. This guy has a history, a long, long history of injuries. He's 35 years old now, and he has been very, very inactive as of late. He's coming off of a full year-long layoff. And his last fight, he went to war with the ghost of Barao. Barao, the former champion, the guy that probably shouldn't be in the UFC anymore. I mean, Douglas beat him, but it wasn't like he ran away with it. It was close. It was competitive. It went all 3 rounds. He didn't knock him out. Like, that's not a good look. You don't want to be in that spot in this day and age. So if you haven't figured it out, Lauren Murphy is the pick. And I think that this card is going to be very, very chalky. Lauren Murphy is minus 275 at this point. And if we're talking line value, I think that's a little wide. I don't necessarily like that level of chalk on him, but I do think he wins. I definitely would not be looking to back the underdog on Douglas on the flip side of that thing. Maybe you look for Lauren Murphy by knockout. I mean, Murphy's cranking up his finishing ability, and he's got a lot of round 1 stoppages. We don't know what kind of shape or durability-wise Douglas is going to be in at this stage of his career. Murphy wins inside the distance is minus 110, about even money. Maybe not a bad look. With that reach advantage, with the youth advantage, speed advantage, I think there's a pretty good chance he can get that knockout. But Silva's so hard to finish is the only problem. He's only been knocked out once. He's been knocked out once. He's been submitted once. And you know what? That's something else I didn't think about is Lauren Murphy. He's got a nasty front choke. This guy jumps on people's necks when they never see it coming. And he's got fast twitch muscle. He's got a squeeze on him like nothing else. And, I would be a little out of my mind to maybe sprinkle Murphy by submission. I think there's a chance Douglas tries to close the distance and come in for a takedown, and maybe Lerone snatches his neck. There's a shot. I don't know. Murphy inside the distance is probably the way to go here if you're going to bet it. Murphy probably worthy of being a parlay piece, in my opinion, in this spot. And that's about all I got for you. I haven't bet it yet. I haven't parlayed him yet. This might be a round robin type of card. Pick your favorite 4 favorites and then just toss them in a round robin parlay where it's all two team parlays. So if one gets beat, you're not dead. The other one's all cash and kind of make up the difference. I wouldn't mind that approach here on this one. Yeah, we got a lot of love in the chat here for Murphy by knockout. Nathan, what's up, my friend from Australia? Tuning in from all around the world. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. And you know what? Lauren or Lerone Murphy? That's a good question. If we're talking about the name pronunciation, I'm pretty sure it's Lerone. If we're talking about the fighters, I mean, I'm a fan of Lucky Lauren Murphy. I like my girl. Nick asking me to explain the round robin. Yes, my friend. So basically what a round robin is it's a parlay setup, all right? Let's, for the sake of argument, say 3. You pick your 3 favorites on the card. They're all around minus 200. A 2-leg parlay at minus 200 apiece should get you even or plus money, barely, and that's not a bad approach. So what you're going to do is you've got fighter A, fighter B, fighter C. You parlay fighters A and B, that's 1 parlay. You parlay fighters A and C, that's a 2nd parlay. You parlay fighters B and C, that's a 3rd parlay. That is a round robin. You're going to use all 3 of those fighters, and you're going to match them up with each other each once. So you're going to use each fighter that you pick. Now, when you do a round robin, a lot of websites, a lot of sports books, especially if you're online, if you're using a legal sports book, most of them will have a selection where you can just checkbox round robin, and it will calculate all that for you. So the more legs you add, obviously, the more dangerous it gets, the more expensive it gets because it's incremental each additional leg that you add. If you're doing a 5-person round robin parlay, 2-leggers, that's 10 parlays instead of just being the 3 parlays for the 3-legger, if that makes sense. So you got to be careful because the more legs you add in, the more expensive it gets. It can add up really, really quickly. So like I said, 3 or 4 maybe is kind of the sweet spot of where you can do it. Not a bad way to play favorites, in my opinion, as long as you're extremely confident on them. Real, hey, we haven't talked about Hooker Chandler yet. That's going to be next week's show, I believe. So don't worry. I will have that all figured out for you by Monday, and I'm going to get an article out on it on odds.com as well. Speaking of which, I do need to ask you all, do me a favor. I do not only video content for odds, but I do written content for odds as well. And if you go to odds.com, you click the UFC tab, most of that content is going to be from your boy. If you like the reading rather than tuning in and listening, or if you wouldn't mind just helping your boy out and click a couple buttons, make sure the website gets some traffic, go check out my articles on odds.com. It would really help me out. And I already did a deep dive on, or not a deep dive, but a preview look of Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. That's on odds.com. And I'll be doing one for Hooker and Chandler. I'm going to get that written up this week. Next up, we've got Roxanne Modafferi taking on Viviane Araujo, and this is a fight that I can't wait for because if you've been with me for any more than just 1 or 2 fight cards, you know I love my nerds. You know I love Roxanne Modafferi. And women's MMA OG. I love this chick. And the fact that she is continuing to fight and succeed at the high level all this time later with no physical advantages in life whatsoever is just incredible to me, and it warms my heart. She is the women's version of Glover Teixeira. You just can never count her out of a fight because of that experience edge. She's 38 years old. We're getting up there in age. But honestly, the way that she has approached her game, the way she is improving late in life, because she started so early and because she didn't ever have those physical gifts or advantages, she's aging like fine wine. She's getting sweeter. She's getting better every single time she steps out somehow at this age. Now, when I say she's getting better, you got to take that in context. She's unathletic as fuck. I'm sorry. I love Roxy. There's a lot of people that get into MMA because they're fast or they're big or they're strong. She's none of those. She has to work her ass off, but she didn't start training strength and conditioning until 4 years ago? She never took that part of her career seriously until just recently. And it's really kept her in the game because she's bigger than a lot of her opponents, and she's stronger than a lot of her opponents because she has started to pick up that aspect of her game. She does rely on her takedowns. What she does is she chain grapples in a different way from most. Apologies if you can hear the dogs in the background. Somebody must be poking around outside my front door or something, so sorry about that. But what Roxanne does is she chain grapples these people up against the fence. If she can get the underhooks, if she can get the body lock, if she can press you up against the cage, that's where she thrives. Then she mixes in different trips and takedowns. She gets you off balance. She'll kick your foot out. She just is relentless with that approach. And like I said, with her improved strength and conditioning, that's something that she can just stay on you. Once Roxy's got a body lock on you, you're just stuck. Oh yeah, there's some kid riding his bike out in front of my house. Sorry. If you can hear the dogs, I'm sorry. I can't get them to stop. There's someone riding their bike around outside. So she's got this nice little rangefinder jab. She's always pawing that front jab out to make sure she knows exactly how far she has to go to close that distance and get the takedown. She tries to mix in hip throws. Those don't really work so well in MMA these days, so I hope she kind of puts that on the shelf. And she's got underrated power in her right hand. I mean, like I said, Roxy, she's been working her strength and conditioning. That power has come along, and she can crack, man. When she gets that right hand going, she actually is not half bad. And she's just glue when she gets on you. Now, the problem is she gets outstruck, because if you're faster than her, if you're quicker than her, you're going to be able to outland her on the feet. She averages 3.14 significant strikes per minute. She absorbs 4.96. So she is a little bit of a punching bag as far as the striking goes because she just can't keep up with her opponents. She relies on that grappling. She loses when she can't control the ground game. Viviane Araujo, on the other hand, she's the exact opposite. This chick is low on experience, and she is high on athleticism, speed, and power. She is fast. She is aggressive. She cuts off the cage. She explodes in, and she's got a 92% takedown defense rating, which is really the scary part if you like Roxanne Modafferi. The thing I want to point out about Vivi, though, is she has been struggling against fighters who are stronger than her. She lost to Jessica I just last year. Or I'm sorry, it's 2021, 2 years ago now. Barely, like a year and 2 months. She lost to Jessica I December 14th, 2019. And that was a big red flag. Jessica I isn't anything special. And Montana De La Rosa gave her a run for her money the last time out in September. One thing that I looked at is their sizes. And what I was incredibly surprised to find out is that Roxanne Modafferi is bigger than anybody Vivi's fought anytime recently. So let me go ahead and pull my numbers up here so I can read those to you appropriately. So Vivi fought Alexis Davis, who's 5'6". Jessica I, who's also 5'6". Montana De La Rosa, who's 5'7". And I guess she's a little bit more comparable there because she's 5'7" herself. So she's going to be about the same size as Montana De La Rosa. Vivi's 5'4". Vivi is really small for the division. She's explosive. She's strong. But I've got this really weird feeling that Roxanne Modafferi manages to pull one more over us because Vivi didn't look great. The threat of the takedown against Montana De La Rosa kept her on her heels. And even though she did win that fight, Montana De La Rosa, you would think, is kind of a younger version of Roxanne Modafferi. Roxy's experience, I think, would give her the advantage over someone like Montana De La Rosa. Montana just still isn't... She's not complete yet. She's not done with her evolution. The reason, and I see, hey, yeah, exactly. People talking in here about how hard it is to touch Roxanne Modafferi. The reason we can talk about betting Roxanne Modafferi is right now she's plus 280. Plus 280. So we talked with our boy, the Greek gambler, about what these odds mean. And at plus 300, that means you've got a 25% chance of winning. So if we think about Viviane Araujo and Roxanne Modafferi, and hypothetically speaking, they fight 4 times, can Roxy win one of those? Can she win 2 of them? Can Roxy win 3 out of 10? Maybe she can. I think that Roxy, using her experience, can potentially close the distance on Vivi, push her up against the cage, and with that size advantage, with her trip game, I think she can potentially drag Vivi to the ground. If Vivi can't defend those takedowns for 15 minutes, and I don't know that Vivi's got what it takes to put Roxy away. Roxy is notoriously hard to finish. I don't know. I think there's a shot. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. This is definitely kind of a Hail Mary shot. If you do pull the trigger, like I said, you're betting a plus 300 fighter here. She only has to win 1 out of 4 for that number to make sense. Yeah. Who took the under? Who took the under on my New Year's resolutions? Here we go. Women's MMA. That's, Yep. And Scotty Brown knows what's up. Vivi's a good athlete, and that's boom or bust for her. Nigel Lee likes it, plus 280 all day. Roberto being bold here, saying she wins 4 out of 4. I like that, Roberto. Yeah, I'm just not overly sold on Vivi Araujo, and I think this line may be too wide. And for a Wednesday morning when I've got a mimosa and a waffle, I might need some Roxanne Modafferi. Every single time Roxy comes in fights, I tell myself it's going to be the last time. It'll be the last ride. And then she just does it again. And then she just pulls it off. Roxanne Modafferi and Glover Teixeira are my two favorite underdogs of all time. And as long as they stick around in MMA, I'm going to have a hard time not betting them because they just do it. They just pull it off. That veteran savvy, you can't replace it. You can't teach it. Actually, you can teach it, but it takes years of experience. All right, we can I'll get off my pedestal here. I think Roxanne Modafferi has an outside shot here in this fight against a young, athletic, but underwhelming fighter, in my opinion. We'll see. Haven't made anything official on that one, but might end up betting it by fight time. Y'all know me. Yeah. Oh, geez. Scott says Roxy. Oh, wait a second. Roxy's barely younger than you. Yeah. And Hayden says that Roxy loses this one and wins the next one. Yeah, that's probably how it'll go, right? Because I didn't actually bet her last time. And then I do better this time. So she's going to zigzag me. That's what's going to happen. All right. Next up, we've got Isaac Villanueva taking on Vinicius Moreira in what can only be described as a bum fight. What is this doing on the main card? What is this fight doing this high up on the card? Okay, Ike Villanueva, in my opinion, is a little underrated. I actually like the guy. He changed gyms. He's got a new team. Unless I'm mistaken, he's working with Francis Ngannou and the boys in Vegas over there. And I think he's going to show some improvement, but realistically, he should be fighting at 185. He moved up to heavyweight, fought Chase Sherman, got TKO'd there because what the fuck are you doing? He took his UFC short notice opportunity when they needed bodies and got killed for it. And then he got beaten by Jordan Wright his last time out. But let's not forget that Jordan Wright cut him open, and it was a cut stoppage. It wasn't even that he got knocked out or anything like that. It was a cut that was in a bad spot, and the referee stopped the fight. So you're looking on any, fighting site, Tapology, ShareDog, whatever you use, and you see 2 TKO losses back to back. Oh, he's no good. Don't forget it was a cut. Don't forget it was a cut. I think Ike has more in the tank than we have seen so far in the UFC. But he's 36 years old. He's mid-tier at best. We can't expect a ton from him. Vinicius Moreira is awful. This guy is world-class on the ground. Sick BJJ. 8 of his 9 wins have come by submission. If you get to the floor with him, you're in trouble. However, he is 0-3 in the UFC. Bro got punked out by Alonzo Menefield, Eric Anders, and Paul Craig. He's 0-3 in the UFC. Every single loss of his by submission, by finish. He's been KO'd 3 times, submitted once. This fight, all I can say is it's not going the distance because Villanueva is the kind of guy that can get dragged to the floor by Moreira. Moreira's huge. He's absolutely massive at 205. And if there's anybody that he can drag to the floor and choke out, it'll be a guy like Hurricane Ike. However, Hurricane Ike is the kind of guy who's got the power to clip the somehow what's less than chinny. We talk glass, like Moreira could go toe-to-toe with Cody Garbrandt for the most glass chin in UFC history right now. Like this is it's going to be fun because someone's going to die. That's about all I can say about this fight. But the under really is kind of the only way that you can look here. I feel like I want to back Ike. I think he's better than we've seen, but there's no way in hell I'm laying minus 140 on him. You can't lay chalk on him, even against somebody like Moreira. You just can't lay chalk. Do I want Moreira as a dog? That makes my stomach queasy just thinking about it. No, thank you. Total set at 1.5. Damn, bro. Like, I think it goes under. Like, Chase Sherman knocked Ike out in the very first minute of the second round, so that would have gone under. Jordan Wright got it done in the first, but it was a cut. And then the 4 fights that Ike had getting to the UFC before that were all TKO victories in the first round. So he's a first-round fighter. Same thing with Moreira. This guy got killed in the first round in all 3 of his fights. He's got a lot of first-round finishes himself, and he's sub or bust. Like I said, he's only got the 1 round in him. If he can't choke you out when he gets to the floor, you're going to beat him up on the feet and he's going to curl up and quit. So I guess under. I don't like betting under 1.5s. They're so hard to hit because it's only 7 minutes. And I wish someone like Ike was a little more reliable, because if you upgraded me at some, I mean, even just look at Moreira's past opponents. Eric Anders doesn't knock anybody out anymore. We knew Eric Anders was going to knock him out. Like, just one little notch up above Ike, and I'd be smashing this under 1.5. But because it's Ike, I don't know if it necessarily gets done in time. Could go either way. Maybe under 1.5. Probably don't touch this one. Fight doesn't go to decision. Maybe the lock of the night. Yeah, Nigel, if he dies, he dies. Thank you, Gas Station Sushi. We've got the legend himself here in the chat. Smash the like button. Thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate you all. Oh, Scotty Brown, James Vick for Chinniest Fighter. Yeah, he could contend. He could absolutely contend. And at Kane's fan, that's false. The reason I lost 10 units last year was because I sprinkled way too many round props and way too many sub and knockout props. That's the reason I lost 10 units last year. A lot of my biggest cashes were because I chased these big dogs. I understand the probabilities of them, and I understand that you don't have to win them all to be profitable. I've actually hit a lot of these big underdogs. If you go to my record last year, plus 300 is not uncommon here on the podcast. Next up, we got Warley Alves taking on Mounir Lazeez. And let's just take a minute. Let's just take a minute. Talk to me in the chat. Who's got FanDuel and who's got Lazeez minus 140 in their pocket? Because your boy tweeted out, the second this line drops, you jump on it. And FanDuel hung this fight at even money. You could have got this fight anywhere from minus 140 all the way up to like minus 185. And I tried to put that out in the world for my backers and my followers as soon as humanly possible, because here we are getting a little bit closer. And as predicted, Lazeez is minus 220. Minus 220, folks. Oh, we crushed this line. Lazeez is one that I circled my calendar. I love this spot. I love this guy. We called, going back, Kane's fan, to your point, Mounir Lazeez was a 3-1 underdog against Abdulrazak Al Hassan last year, and we crushed that number. We absolutely destroyed this kid. He is incredible. One of the slickest strikers I've ever seen. Rolls with the punches, has really good nerves. He's calm in there. He takes his time. He has no problem surviving, no chin issues. High-level striker. Lazeez is the complete package. This is the kid that you're looking for when you want to see that next level underdog rising UFC star. I think Lazeez is the guy. He's 10-1 in MMA, and he is ready for the step up. And taking on Warley Alves here, considering he made his UFC debut against Abdulrazak Al Hassan, this is potentially a step down in competition for him, folks. It's maybe a step down. And not only did he fight and beat Abdulrazak Al Hassan, he did it over 15 minutes. He won in a 3-round decision over Abdulrazak Al Hassan. He survived every single onslaught. He absorbed every single bomb, and he picked apart a UFC veteran in his UFC debut. This kid is sick. Warley Alves, on the other side of this thing, is a guy that I wanted to fade against Christian Aguilera. He was supposed to fight Christian Aguilera, and I thought Christian Aguilera was going to be the guy to show up and beat Alves, and Aguilera was going to be an underdog in that spot. I loved that. However, he got pulled off the card, unfortunately, and we don't have nearly as nice of a price now. But Warley Alves is a first-rounder bust fighter. He's got some sick jiu-jitsu. If he gets this fight to the floor, that's the one thing we're concerned about. That's why I'm totally okay with Lazeez, and even if you have him at minus 200 or minus 225, something like that, parlay him. I'm okay with him as a parlay piece at this price tag, because we are only fading one thing. Warlley Alves is a monster in about the first 2 minutes of the fight. If he doesn't get you out of there in those first 2 minutes, though, he's done. And if Abdulrazak Alhassan wasn't able to get Lazeez out of there, I don't think Alves is going to be able to get him out of there, especially on the feet. I don't think Alves is going to knock out Lazeez. Now, if Alves gets this thing to the ground, could he submit Lazeez? Maybe. That's the one thing. However, grappling wears Alves out like nothing else. This guy gets so tired. He is shot by the 3rd minute of the fight. So if he gets Lazeez down, and if he gets over to his stool between corners, he's maybe half of himself. The second round starts, he's got nothing. I think Lazeez is going to TKO Warlley Alves. I think he's going to finish him in the second round after Alves gasses out. Heck, he might even do it in the first. Lazeez is legit. I am all about this kid. And because I'm a man of the people, I'm not going to count it on the official record of the podcast, but I want it known that I let you all know about that minus 136, minus 140 line that was hanging out there at FanDuel. So if you guys jumped on that, if you've got FanDuel, if you could get there and get it locked in, I hope you're riding with me. Congratulations. We're on it. I like Lazeez as a parlay piece. I think he wins by destruction. Lazeez by knockout. Lazeez round 2. I like all of those spots. Fight doesn't go to decision is minus 145, and I think that's a pretty good spot too. The under 2.5, I think that's a good spot too, because there's no way that Warlley Alves is winning this thing via decision, in my opinion. Warlley Alves has to finish Lazeez to get it done, and I think that if Warlley Alves doesn't get the finish, he then gets finished in return. I don't see this fight getting to the judges' scorecards either, so if you want the under 2.5, if you missed out on Lazeez, that's maybe not a bad spot to take, and that totally locks in that first round Warlley Alves threat as well. So like I said, what I'm going to do in this spot is I'm not going to credit myself for Lazeez at minus 136, but that's the line I got. We'll just leave it at that. I think he's a parlay piece. Might play the under, and we'll go from there. All right. So before we get to the main event, there is one more spot on this card. They added Jimmy Rivera and Pedro Munoz. They have not updated the UFC site, apparently, so I don't have anything to put for my background. Ooh, UFC 257 countdown just dropped. I love that. Nothing gets me more pumped than those UFC countdown shows. They're so good. The UFC has just absolutely perfected the countdown shows. Huge fan. All right. For some reason, my computer is not working for me right when I need it to break down this, what I think is going to be the co-main event. Jimmy Rivera taking on Pedro Munoz. What we have is, oh, damn it, best fight odds. Get your shit together. Is it under the wrong card? They do this all the time where they put it on the wrong fight card, or am I just not seeing it? There it is. For some reason, yeah, see, it's all the way down on 258 for some reason. So what we've got right now is Jimmy Rivera, minus 140, Pedro Munoz, plus 120. And even my betting sites are telling me that it's on UFC 258. Okay, so I'm not going to do a full breakdown on this one because there's a chance it's not on this card, but I want to mention it if it is. So Rivera, big wrestler, grinder. All he does is go to decision. Munoz, nasty striker, good counter wrestler, big power in his hands, 2-fight losing streak, Aljamain Sterling, Frankie Edgar. Rivera looked like he was able to snap his 2-fight losing streak against Cody Stamann the last time out. Looked really good. I like Pedro Munoz. I think that as an underdog, this is a good spot to take a shot. He's got better striking, in my opinion, than Jimmy Rivera does. The leg kicks, I think, will be a problem. He's kind of a little mini Chuck Liddell. He's going to use that wrestling ability and counter to stay on the feet and then fight Jimmy Rivera with his hands. Rivera's hands looked good the last time out against Cody Stamann, but I think Pedro Munoz is a much cleaner striker, a faster striker than Cody Stamann. And he isn't going to look for takedowns on Jimmy Rivera. So that, defensive takedown ability, I think, is going to be what makes the difference. I like the dog shot there on Pedro Munoz. And Greg, we're wrapping it up, buddy. Props to you for staying awake till 3 a.m. I appreciate you hanging out, man. Let's get this wrapped up. Main event time. Michael Chiesa taking on Neil Magny in a 5-round main event on a Wednesday morning on an island in the middle of a pandemic. There's a headliner for you. What a fight we've got going here. So what we've got is a fighter that I have regularly been unimpressed with, and a fighter that I have been riding to the bank like he's my personal Clydesdale. Neil Magny is a guy that we have been on constantly. All I've done is bet Neil Magny lately. Ever since he lost to Sergio in his comeback, we cash on Neil Magny. I love this dude's skill set. He's big for the division. He's tall. He's long. He's got excellent wrestling. He trains in Denver, so that gas tank is more of a weapon than it is a skill. His underhooks are great. He turns around these standing situations to bully his opponents up against the fence. His striking has come a long way. Neil Magny is the complete package, and he's a sleeper in the division. Ever since coming back from that bad knockout, I feel like he's really turned a corner. He's really righted the ship. His fight IQ is extremely high, and I love that he always sticks to the plan. When it comes to sports betting, especially MMA, when a fighter won't follow the game plan, that's the most infuriating thing you can ever run into. You've got these spots where you've got this guy that you're like, oh, your jiu-jitsu is so sick, you can snap this guy's arm off at any point in time, and they decide they want to strike. Kills your bet. Completely kills your bet. Money gone. Poof. See ya. Because the fighter didn't do what we saw their skill set would allow them to do, right? That's not Neil Magny. You are always going to get Neil Magny. When Magny fights, you're going to get the same exact fighter every single time. He's just going to get better every time he does it. Chiesa, on the flip side, cutting way too much weight down at 155, finally makes the jump to 170, and he looks like a new man, let's be honest. Extremely high-level grappler, awful striking. This guy's been around forever, and still, I don't know how he's as bad on the feet as he is this many fights deep. I mean, he's got 21 professional fights and still can barely throw across. His last 3 wins, though, let's go ahead and talk about this. His last 3 wins are against the shell of Carlos Condit, Diego freaking Sanchez, and Rafael dos Anjos, who's an aging veteran that decided to move back down to 155. I have always been unimpressed with Chiesa besides his ground game. And he has had massive size advantages over all 3 of his last 3 opponents. Carlos Condit, a guy who retired and came back, has the worst takedown defense in the UFC's history. Diego Sanchez, who's a bloated 155er, who is also retiring this year, who is also much smaller, doesn't follow the game plan whatsoever, and is training with a yoga instructor these days. And Rafael dos Anjos, who, even though, yes, Rafael dos Anjos is one of the better grapplers in the division and had solid takedown defense until just recently, if you watch that fight closely, Rafael dos Anjos has a lot more success than people remember him having, defending those takedowns and reversing situations and keeping it on the feet. He just got ground out by a bigger, stronger guy at 170 that he wasn't able to handle. Magny's got a reach advantage. Magny's a good wrestler. And if Chiesa doesn't get a first-round submission, the longer this fight goes, the more it favors Neil Magny. The fact that it's a 5-round fight, in my opinion, is a bonus for us. I think that they should have baked that into the line. I think people should realize how much of an advantage that 5th round is for Neil Magny, because Chiesa has never been to the championship rounds. He barely makes it to round 3. He's got a bad gas tank, and he's only able to do so at 170. He could never get there at 155. Neil actually gets his way through 15 minutes on a regular basis and never shows signs of slowing down. And the one time he did get to round 4 in the UFC was against Ponzinibbio. If it wasn't for those leg kicks, he looked fine gas tank-wise. He has been 5 rounds. Earlier in his career, back in 2015, he had a main event spot against Kelvin Gastelum where he went the full 25 minutes as well. Rohan, I'm like 90% sure it's 5 rounds. I'm pretty sure it's 5 rounds. I think they announced it as the 5-round main event. They haven't specified that it's a 3-round main event. It's a main event. It should be 5 rounds. So I'm pretty sure. But what we've got, in my opinion, is you can't get off a streak. You know what I mean? You just can't. You can only bet a streak once. Once that streak is over, that's it. It's gone. You're never getting it back. I am rolling right now with Neil Magny, and I'm not getting off this train until I have to. We've cashed 3 times in a row with Neil Magny. I'm going back to the well. I got Neil Magny at minus 130. That line is finally starting to inch its way back up because I think people realized it got a little too low. Chiesa is plus 115. He opened up plus 150. If you got that big dog line, I don't hate it quite so much. Magny opened at minus 185. And this is a spot where I like these spots where I agree with the bookies. When the bookie says, look, bro, Magny should be about a 2-1 favorite here, and the betting market says, no, and they bet that dog all the way down to a pick'em, I love coming back the other way and going, you know what? I should have to lay minus 175 with this guy. I should have to lay minus 185 with this guy, but I only have to pay minus 130. I locked him in at minus 130. We talked about the judges on Fight Island. If these guys are going control for control, that's going to be a wash. I expect Magny to be taken over at some point on the feet. Magny's going to have the volume. Magny's got a huge striking advantage. And with Chiesa, the way he tires out from grappling, with this thing being a 5-round main event, I would not be shocked if Neil Magny got a finish. Now, the total looks like it's set at 2.5 here. It's juiced heavily to the over, obviously, but I guess I'm going to have to research and make sure that that is a 5-round main event. I want to look. I want to double check and make sure. Yep, 5-round main event. Absolutely. So this thing's going over. I do think it'll get to the 3rd round. I do think it'll get to the 4th round. And I think that Magny will be able to shut down the offensive grappling of Chiesa. He's got really awkward offensive grappling. He's not like a blast double type of guy. He's not a Khabib type of guy. If he can get you up against the cage, if he can press you against the fence, if he can suck you out, if he can trip you down, that's how he gets you to the floor. And that's Magny's game. Like, that's what Magny does best, is get up against the fence and grind people against that cage. So when they go toe-to-toe up against the fence like that, I really think Magny's just going to be the bigger, stronger guy, and he's plenty experienced in that exact game plan. I think he'll be able to get the takedown defense going. I think he'll grind out Chiesa. Chiesa will tire, and I wouldn't be shocked if Magny actually ends up getting some kind of a TKO finish late in the fight. So even though I know New Year's resolutions going straight down to hell at this point, this might be a sprinkle rounds 4 and 5 on the Magny finish props, because he's a decision monster. We're going to get so much value on those props because the later the fight goes, the more Magny should be taking over. And if Chiesa gasses out and ends up curling up in a ball, I could see the TKO coming. That's it, folks. That is UFC Fight Island 8. We've broken the whole thing down top to bottom. I've given you my picks and my plays. Let's give a little bit of a recap. I'll let you know what I'm on for UFC Fight Island 7 so you all know where we're at for that. And one sec, I'm going to yell at my dog. I feel like I'm muted. There we go. I'm back, and we're back, and we're back. So technical difficulties aside, UFC Fight Island 7, I've got Nassourdine Imavov at plus 140. I like that underdog spot. Really happy that we got out ahead of that one. We always like to get that line value and beat the line moves. And unless I'm mistaken, Imavov has come all the way down. Where you at? Plus 120. Money's still coming in on Imavov, and he's all the way down to plus 120. Love that we got ahead of that one. Love that we got out. We've got Punahele Soriano. That's another one that we have a dog spot for Saturday. And he's still sitting right around the same spot. So I got plus 135. You can still manage to get plus 130, plus 135 out there. So didn't necessarily beat that line movement, but I do like that spot. I have 3 units to win 2 on Tom Breeze at minus 150. Once again, that's right about where that line still sits. That's one that Gianni the Greek really talked some sense into me on that one. I was kind of looking to pass, but instead I think I will roll the dice. I will take that opportunity on Tom Breeze, getting over those mental hurdles. Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown. I have the under 2.5 at plus 130. I am extremely tempted on... I'm tempted on Jiling Liang, the Leech, against Ponzinibbio. That line is getting a little too wide. He's plus 145 right now, and I'm very tempted there because Ponzinibbio's coming back from a really long layoff. He's older, and the Leech is coming off a poor performance. I think that he could be the younger fighter with more gas in the tank, and we could be getting a little bit of recency bias there. Very, very tempted. I've got Buckley in that parlay with Ricky Simone. Parlay is minus 123, laying 2.46 units to win 2. So we do have action on Buckley. I am tempted on... Where'd you go? I am tempted on Carlos Felipe. Money keeps coming in on Justin Tafa. That's driving that price down. And I'm tempted on Felipe. I do think he can win with volume once again. We talked about that. If Tafa doesn't get the knockout, I think he gets it done. I'm tempted on David Zawada. He's plus 220. And I'm just not impressed with Ameev. A lot of people think Ameev is this monster. I don't think he's the monster that people think he is. And I think David Zawada is underrated. He's got the style that Ameev struggled with previously. I am very tempted at plus 220 on that. I think that line is too wide as well. And then Austin Lingo versus Jacob Kilburn. I am tempted on another violence bet, the under 2.5 at even money or plus 130. It's kind of bouncing around out there, but money's coming in on that under. So I guess if I want to play it, it should be sooner than later. I'll see if I can still get a plus money number here on it when I jump off the show, but I might end up pulling the trigger there. So that's what I'm liking on Fight Island 7. And then for Fight Island 8 that we just went over, Munir Lazeez at minus 139. Once again, even though I'm not going to credit myself with that, I do have Neil Magny at minus 132.6 units to win 2. And this is a chalky fight night. I'm tempted on Roxanne Modafferi, but I'm going to wait because obviously the world is on Viviane Araujo. I'm going to see how high that line gets. And then I am tempted on Pedro Munoz, the under on Matt Schnell, Tyson Nam, the over. What was the over we found? We found a really damn good over, and I'm just now, my brain is breaking. What happened? Damn. It was like the discovery of the show, and now I'm forgetting it. I'll remember it. I'll get there. Lauren Murphy is one that I wouldn't mind as a parlay piece. We're leaving Davis Jones alone. Dalcha and Perez. Is that the one where we liked the over? That might be the one where we like the over. Dalcha Perez might be the one where we ended up liking the over. So there's some spots. Yeah, Joker versus Dalcha. Thank you. That's the one where we like the over. And that's what I'm looking at for next week. I haven't locked anything except Magny in. And then that nudge, elbow on Lazeez for next Wednesday. I do have 2 bets that I got out way ahead of time. UFC 259. Askar Askarov, I put 2 units on him at plus 100 even money. He's already flipped to being the favorite. I think he's at least minus 110, minus 115 at this point. That's one that I liked. And then Tim Elliott, I got minus 115, 2.3 units to win 2. Those are 2 far look-ahead lines. I don't usually do things like that, but I really wanted to get out ahead of those because I think the market is going to come in and they will end up closing as the favorites, and I think they will end up closing much, much higher. That'll do it, folks. That's the show. So looking forward to seeing all of you again sometime soon. Don't worry, we're back on the grind. I will have Total Madness coming out later this week right here on odds.com. I will have the post weigh-in show on Fridays, which, as we know, the post weigh-in show is undefeated. Saturday, we've got freaking fights, y'all. We're going to be watching people punch each other in the face. And then Wednesday, after the Monday podcast, I'm going to have to find a way to get the Friday weigh-in show will become the Tuesday weigh-in show for that Wednesday card. So I'm going to have a madness week coming up here. We will have mimosas and waffles on Wednesday fights. And then once again, we'll have another Total Madness. We'll have another Friday post-weigh-in show and more fights on Saturday. Then we'll be right back in this spot with a guest to break down Conor versus Poirier. And that'll be a hell of a fun card to talk about as well. Thank you all so much for showing up with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. On your way out, once again, if you haven't already, do me a favor and just hit that like button. It takes 1 second, just one little second for you. Just click the like button. I appreciate it. This is 2021. We are dusting our boots off. We ended up negative units last year. We are going to do our very best to learn from some of our mistakes and crush 2021, put some money in our pocket. But worst case scenario, we're having some fun. We have the opportunity to gamble and to enjoy the best sport on the planet. And what more could we want? We got to be grateful. We got to be happy. We've got a wonderful community here. The odds community, the die-hard community. You guys are all absolutely amazing. I appreciate each and every one of you. And even though times are tough, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world right now, especially if you live in the States. Things are absolutely bonkers right now. Let's do our best to stay positive, stay calm, and be that light that other people need to try and help bring us all together and make this world a better place and look forward instead of being focused too much on the past and being upset and being angry. And if there's anything at all that I can tell you, if there's one thing, if there is one truth that I can impart to you and help you feel better about your worldly situation right now, it's that if you use the last little bit of toilet paper on the paper roll, you need to fucking replace it. If you use the last of the toilet paper, you don't leave an empty roll of toilet paper for the next guy coming into the bathroom. Put a new roll on. Pay it forward, man. That's all I got for you. Thank you all so much for tuning into the show this evening. I hope you have a wonderful week. We will be talking soon. As I add more bets, I will be tweeting them out as I do so at Diehard MMA Podcast on Twitter. And that's it for the show. I'm going to go ahead and do the behind-the-scenes shit right now. I've got a couple little things I've got to do for odds.com, little video editing clips. So if you want to hang out for those and get a little peek behind the curtain, sit tight with me here for a second. But yeah, that's all I got for you at this point. Thank you all so much for being with me. And fourth level consciousness, I am so sorry to hear that, man. My family has lost some due to COVID as well, actually. We've had 2 deaths due to COVID. We've had a whole lot of close calls and some people that are actually battling it right now. So I understand, and it's a scary thing out there. So try to stay positive and just wear a mask. Do what you can. Jeff, so here's the okay. If you managed to stick with me this far, I haven't done my peek behind the curtain yet. I'll tell you a story. Story time. I don't punch very hard. I would love to sack up here and, flex in front of the camera and tell you, I'll knock your ass out, bro. Don't step to me. I can't do that. Some people were blessed by our Lord with vicious punching power, and your boy was not one of them. I was in Vegas for my bachelor party. We're all drinking, having a good time, and there's a punching machine, right? Now, this was rewind, 8 years at this point. Young Clint has a chin strap, not the Khabib beard, but just like a thin chin strap. Young Clint has hair, and I'm rocking the broest tap-out shirt you have ever seen and a hat backwards that also happens to be tap out. I was the biggest bro you have ever seen in your entire life. And of course, somebody has the bright idea of, bro, it's your bachelor party. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. Let's hit the punching machine. Let's see who hits the hardest. I have been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been boxing. I've been doing Muay Thai. Your boy knows what he's doing in combat. All my friends are nerds. All my friends are smaller than me by a good 4 inches. I'm like, it's my birthday, and I get to show everybody I'm the man. at my bachelor party. And a couple of my friends go, and their numbers are okay. You know, your average human just doesn't hit that hard without training it. So we're, okay, all right, decent scores. Everyone's kind of ribbing each other on the results. It's my turn. I get up there. The announcer at the restaurant, of course, is like commentating through all of this thing because we're in Vegas. It's one of those places where they've got like a DJ and somebody on the mic, even though everyone's sitting around eating. And he's like, whoa, okay, this is going to go one of two ways. Either this guy's the biggest badass we have ever seen, or he's the biggest pussy in the room. And I walk up and I hit that thing as hard as I can. And my wrist bends backwards. I hurt my hand. And I score the lowest out of anybody that's hit the bag so far. So I'm just embarrassed out of my mind right now. The whole restaurant, my group, and everybody else is laughing hysterically. I can't go out like that. Your boy can't go out like that. So I go back and I get another $1. Like, give me another shot. I'm like, yeah, one more. Put it in the slot, get up there. I pull back and I hit this thing as hard as I freaking can. And once again, I'm under pressure. I'm trying to perform. And I missed the bag. So I dink off the side of this thing. And I set a lower score than the first time. Why are you guys making me relive this right now? So I already had the lowest score out of my friends group, being the biggest guy in the room. And then I set a lower score when I go back and do it again. And the announcer is just having a field day. This guy on the mic is just publicly shaming me at my bachelor party. The guys I trained jiu-jitsu with are busting up. They're falling out of their chairs. My wife is like laughing her ass off at me. I drank a lot that night. Needless to say, I drank a lot that night. I'm good at jiu-jitsu, man. I'm a decent striker. I'm a Tony Ferguson-esque body type. I've got elbows. I've got knees. I could probably break somebody's face with a clinch knee, but I can't punch for shits. So there you go. Bonus story time for everybody. Clint does, in fact, punch like a Subway sandwich. So there you go, folks. Thank you so much for enjoying the podcast with me this evening. I'm going to do my little video clips now, and it's a good thing my audio is the only one anybody can hear, because I'm sure you're all busting, laughing your asses off right now, and I can hear the echoes from all the way in here. So, yeah. All right. Shake it off. What's up, everybody? Thank you for checking out the show. This podcast was filmed exclusively for odds.com. Make sure you click the link below. Go check out the full replay on odds.com as we break down UFC Fight Island 8. How's it going, everybody? This video was exclusively for odds.com. Click the link below. Check the full one out. Good luck, and let's get paid. What is up, everybody? It's Clint from the Diehard MMA podcast. This is the post-weigh-in show for UFC Fight Island 8. Check out the link below, exclusive on odds.com. What's going on, everybody? It is Clint from the Diehard MMA podcast. This is the post-weigh-in show for UFC Fight Island 7. Click the link below, exclusive to odds.com. Check it out. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Clint from the Diehard MMA podcast. This is Total Madness for UFC Fight Island 7. Click the link below to check out the full video. How's it going, everybody? It is Clint from the Diehard MMA podcast, and this is Total Madness for UFC Fight Island 8. Check out the full video at the link below. Make sure you like and subscribe. All right. There we go. We're done. Actually, MMA sports better. I only fell in love with Fireball about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. So that's, you know what? That's a story for another day. Your boy's got stories. I've got stories. So There's a reason that I can only drink Fireball, and again, that's a story for another day. But it's been a short run with Fireball because there's not very many drinks that I can handle as far as shooting goes, and I can't stand the taste of beer. So I've got to do shots. I've got to drink the hard stuff. Robot Chicken Wings, honesty is all you're ever going to get from me, my friend. So thank you very much. And yeah, thank you very much, Danny. For everybody that stuck around with me this far, thank you very much. You have a wonderful week. And yes, Jared, this is Clint from the Diehard MMA podcast. Get out of here. Get out of here with that shit. All right. Go watch some football. Thank you all for watching the show tonight. Have a good one.